Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spotted. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Hey guys, where's the music? Ooh, I look so ominous and scary. Forget to turn on the light. No, we're not playing Must Die. I said play this. Come on. Okay, there we go. It's okay. Nobody's on the stream yet anyways because I screwed up and didn't create the stream on time and all of that. I don't know. And then I screwed up being here. Uzi is here. God damn it. I'm always here to see you screw up. Oh my God. So funny. Okay. Well, I better shape up. Let me get over to the charts then, huh? Yes. All right. Come on. I'm having a couple of issues here. But we'll sort them out as we go along. Okay, so here's the treasuries. Yesterday, we had a little bit of a move down, right? And this morning, there was maybe a little bit of a continuation, but overall, I would say pullback. And now we're actually kind of starting to go the other direction because the jobless claims was a decent bit, like what? Would 233 versus an expected? No, that's not what matters. Nobody cares about initial jobless claims. It was GDP, right? Let's see here. GDP 1.4 in line. Durable goods 0.1 versus an expected negative 1.5. GDP price index 3.1 versus expected 3. Wholesale inventory spot 6 versus spot 1. I'm actually not 100% sure what is driving that shift. Perhaps just some things that kind of suggest less inflationary. We'll bet. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm looking at the Japanese yen. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. Big move down in the treasuries yesterday. A little bit of, but we're kind of turning the other way. Okay. S&P 500. See, before I come in here, I have not seen the chart, right? I have read about what the things that were driving the overnight market. So I know what it did, but I have not seen the chart. S&P 500 still within the range. Oil within the range. Gold. Well, gold got hammered yesterday, but it is coming right back. Silver not so much, but it's coming back. Kappa continues to struggle. And then here's the Japanese yen. Okay, so the Japanese yen was dismal yesterday. Not so great in the overnight, but it's okay. And the dollar a little bit above 105. Bitcoin, they bounced back 2 days ago from dropping all the way down below 60K. But that just kind of looks like a pullback. You know what's something that every time I see the Bitcoin I think about now is like zero hedge chills so hard for Bitcoin. Like if Bitcoin sold because there's a government entity selling Bitcoin or something like that, it's FUD. It's so hilarious how biased they are in favor of crypto. It's just hilarious. But it's not doing so well right now. So they're trying really hard. Okay, so the first thing is that I've got to fix my DOMs down here because I had a power outage, and I guess because of my router over here and everything, I don't have as many, and the second computer, I don't have as many surge protected outlets, so the monitors went out and rearranged all my windows. So I I pulled the saved workspace. So let's see here. In oil, we are on August. There we go. And then on these ones, we are in June. Okay. The full-size treasuries are okay. Oh, okay. So now I have the old main going. I'm gonna close that. There we go. All right. Save this as main. Place, yes. Okay. Well, the dollar looks like it's getting hammered pretty hard off of this. I apparently don't have internet today. I've been having lots of ISP issues. Hopefully I'll switch in a few weeks when this new brand finishes building fiber. Oh yeah, you gotta get the fiber. You know, in my area, the cities have taken the approach of like a utility where, you know, they pay a company to provide the service or whatever, but the infrastructure is built out with the public funds. And so I get fiber optic internet, a 10G, provided by like the best ISP you could possibly have. X Mission, they're so great. It's so much better than like having a Comcast or a, you know, whatever. And so yeah, it's just worked really, really well. And I have 10G fiber. So these are a little bit off. I guess I'm just gonna expand this. With this a little bit off. Get rid of those lines. There we go. All right. So I think I have fixed all of my workspace issues. Let's save that again. Let's move yesterday's notes. What's the 26th? Okay, so today's flows, we got GDP, we've got initial jobless claims, yen, job owning, I don't know how you spell it. We also have at 8 o'clock pending home sales. Do we have any auctions? We do. We have 7-year auction. Let's see here. 4-week bill auction. 7-year auction. That's a big deal for us in the treasuries. By the way, those have been relatively positive. Tokyo CPI tonight as well. And debate. I won't put it in all caps. We'll put little stars around it so that it changes colors. Oops. There we go. Oh no, wait. What do I have to do to make it change colors? I don't remember. Oh well. All right, guys. Well, so here's the thing. I want to come back to that volume profile. In the treasuries. Okay. So we had a range going, right? We had a range. It was pretty tight. Yesterday, they ended up breaking through the range. That was the yen comments and stuff, right? Okay. Now, so far on this up move, we're just not quite. Well, I think we probably could get another tick or two out of that, but 07 kind of looks like a spot. Oh, show you the chart right there, which would be back into the range. So when you're looking at like an intraday chart, these sorts of things, they don't matter. When we're looking at a daily chart, I'm not going to say that it predicts something, but it does matter. There are funds and momentum and mean reversion funds and so forth that are looking at those daily levels and react to them. So we are going to want to pay attention at those spots. And, you know, their trend is looking pretty okay. The flows, you're looking back over here. The flows, these are some of the best flows we've seen all week. Right? Like, that's good. Let's shift that a little bit so that the cumulative delta is down on the bottom. There we go. So, micro's at 4.3, huh? There's a decent reloading right there. Or no, I don't see enough craziness. That I kind of think that you might see maybe a further move here, but this is one of those locations that they tend to get stuck for a little bit. So we might, you know, if we're going long, we might have to wait a little while. But I'm going to try just the one ticker there. Octavius is he's taking the scalp for 07. Oh, down tick. I'm gonna puke. Whew. That was almost a 2-tick loser. I only got one. Huh? Okay, not bad. Using, you know, I'm kind of using the sim order to kind of test the market here a little bit. When you take a position, even if it's a sim, you know, it kind of locks you in a little bit. Like you pay attention more. You have a different view of what's going on that I think is a little bit closer. What's, you know, otherwise I can get really disconnected. So right there, though, I was kind of like, well, we might be able to get 0.5 off, but this is a spot we got to be a little bit careful about. And that, like, my caution was kind of proven out there. Luckily, I was keyed enough into it that when it was the -1, I just took the -1. So, hey, I'm going to call that a win. Okay, here's an interesting story on Reddit here. Yuval Noah Harris says AI could make finance so complicated that no human understands it, leading to a political and social crisis being ruled by an alien intelligence. I mean, finance is already so complicated that no human understands it, so I don't see how this has changed. I need to post that. Yeah. Oh, the top comment already beat me to it. This is already our reality without AI yet. Okay. Well, so first thing I'm noticing here after that little pullback is that we're coming back up there very quickly. So this is a relatively, I would say a relatively active market. I am seeing a lot of volume. I am seeing a lot of kind of like shiftiness though. It is not, well, when I look out on the long horizon, pretty clear uptrend, pretty clear imbalance in favor of market longs, even before we had the news jump right there, right? But right here, you see that kind of that little M sort of thing going on. There is a little bit of volatility and cross flows coming in, which means that you kind of, you know, if you're trying to hold something for a swing, you're gonna have to take more risk than you maybe want, because what you'd like to have is like, you know, I take it here at 0.5 and it never comes back on me even a tick, right? Okay, I liked the way that went. Now it's going to play that. Oh, we're not going to fill you. Maybe not. I don't know. It's kind of interesting to me that we came back there, approaching that high again. But I'm not really seeing orders go through. The 5-year is lagging a little bit. I'm not seeing a huge shift in the spreads yet. But there's maybe something coming there. Okay. Just thinking about, I don't know why it came to my mind right now, but like my elbow feels pretty good right now. I was doing my workout yesterday. I was doing the cleans, and then afterwards I was like extending my arm and like, you know, squeeze the muscles real tight. See, because that's the thing that kind of like causes the pain. And I feel like this, like it squeezes tighter. I'm like, what was that? But it's felt okay since, so maybe it was a good thing. I don't know. Okay, they filled me there. Do you think I can get away with that again? Let's see. I'm just noticing here that my order column is missing. Oops. Oh, they didn't film me. I was thinking about testing the market there. I don't know if I feel as comfortable doing it right here. Okay. Well, I did it anyways, and they immediately filled it, so I kind of suspect if I had put a bid there that they would probably also immediately fill it. Got an email this morning that in Bevy 014 they fixed the transparency issue. Oh, really? Well, if they fixed it, that would make our lives a lot easier, wouldn't it? One of the things I had been thinking about, because remember I was like, if we made a trading platform in Rust, that would be super awesome. And, but then I started having all those issues and I was like, can I actually make a good enough GUI in Rust for it to be a good platform? But, Bevy helps, I guess. Actually, oh my gosh. Okay, so yesterday, so burnt out by the end of yesterday. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I was so burnt out yesterday. After the stream, I went immediately into the Python stuff. This time around, I was more like doing actual code and like trying to get things to run. And oh my gosh, it did not want to run. So the issue in the Python backtesting space, okay, because it seems like Python has become like the platform for like quant stuff, right? But I don't think that it necessarily is for the public. Like NinjaTrader backtesting, super cool, super easy, works really, really well. There's some pitfalls. You got to know what you're doing, but, because it can fool you a little bit. But if you watch my videos on it and I kind of give you all of the things that you got to watch for, and it works really well. Well, that's not Python backtesting. Python backtesting, it is just the Wild West. There are some backtesting frameworks, but it may or may not have stuff built in for your data platform. Even if it does have things built in for your data platform, there's going to be all sorts of weird configuration and stuff that you have to do to get it to work. So I'm using Zipline, and Zipline does have a module for using Norgate, but the way that Norgate and Zipline work, you have to create like a bundle. So I have to create this configuration file that says here's a bundle and here are all of the instruments that are included in that bundle, and I have to specify them manually. It's like a total pain in the butt, right? And so I get all of that stuff working. And then you run into the Python dependency hell is where I'm at right now. Is that so Zipline was created by Quantopian, which went out of business in 2021, right? It seems like just yesterday, but that was 3 years ago. Quantopian went out of business, and the community has continued to maintain the package and everything, but like Python keeps moving along, and so like, you know, packages have to be updated and stuff. So they have something called Zipline Reloaded. I tried doing it with the latest Python version, and I couldn't get things to build. There's a package missing. That was like the wrong version. So I went back into, they had like some tutorials for using Norgate Zipline, and I used that, and that got all of the dependencies in. But then when I started running the code that I had, it wasn't working. It was giving me all sorts of bizarre errors. And I was able to fix 2 or 3 of them. I'm getting a move here in oil. What's with this? Something's up. Not sure. Anyways. Yeah, now they film me probably when I don't want it. Okay, anyways. So yeah, now I'm kind of like, okay, I need to go rebuild my workspace in an even more recent, because the errors that I'm getting are like deep inside the framework. Like I'm getting errors popping out from pandas and stuff like that. So like, ugh, what a pain. And yeah, by the end of the day, because during all of that, I was learning and absorbing so much information about how this ecosystem works and all of that stuff. So I was just exhausted by the end of the day. Just exhausted. Freaking Python. So that is turning out to be a bigger... The bad news is that is turning out to be a bigger challenge than I thought. The good news is it's turning out to be a bigger challenge than I thought, because that means like less competition, right? And I think I could make some YouTube videos about it too. So that might be cool. Let's see here. Seems like the dog in funding industry is without an evaluation. It's fast track trading, not to mention that I have my doubts. What are you talking about? I think I'm missing some context there, Hal. I'm not a huge fan of funded trader evaluations. I think that really what they do is they set super aggressive targets that retail traders don't realize are as aggressive as they are, and in the hopes that you try to pass it and fail, and they make a lot of money off of the percentage of people that are statistically likely to fail from it. It's the new dog in town. Well, it's been around since, listen, one of the things that first got this channel started was the early videos that I made about the funded trading. And one that I made in particular where I said, you know what, I don't like this, I'm not going to do these anymore, was one of the videos that really kind of jump-started the channel. They seem to be a lot. So are you talking about a particular funded trader? Because what I'm confused about is when you're comparing it to the rest. And that makes me feel like that you're talking about one funded trader program compared to a different one. Is there a certain prop firm that you're trying to talk about and it's like hiding the name from me or something? Or maybe you used certain words and YouTube throttled you. Seems like the dog and funding industry is without an evaluation. It's fast track trading, not to mention that I have my doubts. Oh, or is fast track trading the firm you're talking about? Is fast track trading the one that you're talking about compared to Top Step, Apex, etc.? I gotcha. I haven't. I'm not sure I've heard that. It seems like maybe. How many fingers am I holding up, Hal? How many fingers am I holding up? No, I kind of almost hesitate to say this, but it is what I truly believe. Okay, I think that all of the funded trader programs are kind of like BS. Like I don't think that they're actually in your best interest. Everybody says, well, it's a good way to learn rules and no, set your own rules and follow your own rules. Okay, but if I had to pick, and again, I kind of dislike the whole industry. Okay. I don't like the whole industry. Any one of them could probably pull off hijinks. Okay, but if there was one that you were forced, like I absolutely had to pick one to do a partnership with or something like that, it would be Top Step. Top Step are the only ones that I really trust. Apex, Apex were the ones that they came to me. They're like, here's an affiliate code. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll put it in the channel, but I'm not really interested in doing a whole lot with it. Nobody ever used that affiliate code, which is cool. And then once, there was that whole scandal about that one of their founders was convicted for fraud with a binary options exchange. Then I was like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. And I'm not doing any combines anymore. They sponsored a video, and listen, I kind of feel like I have to be somewhat fair. Like, if they're a serious company that are offering a product and they want to sponsor videos, then I feel like, okay, sure. I'm not necessarily gonna be on there like I'm totally recommending this, but if you're paying for a video and everybody knows that that's what's going on, then fine, right? But since then, there's been all of these people complaining about Apex denying payouts. Now, there was one video to begin with that kind of started this, and I didn't watch the whole video, but I watched a little bit of the video. And that video kind of seemed to me more like that the person that was creating it was brand new and didn't really understand the rules before he got into it. That's what that one kind of seemed like. But then since that time, there's tons of people complaining about them. And Apex has had technical issues. Apex has had these really bizarre technical issues where the traders on Rhythmic have been entered into positions against... They didn't do anything, but the system entered them into a position, which is super crazy. Super crazy. I can't imagine what could possibly be going on over there that would cause that, because I know a little bit about how those kinds of systems work, right? So I cannot, for the life of me, figure out how their system would be entering people into trades. That's a little bizarre. That's a little sus, right? They had a rule change slightly that caused a lot of people to be upset. That'd make me shit my... Yeah. Well, when it happened, because they have a Discord now, when it happened, everybody on their Discord, it was just lighting up, and people showing all of these pictures and stuff. So then, iMan Trading, he made a video about this. He's basically... because all of his videos are this guy is a scammer, this guy is a scammer. So he basically made it up as like Apex is fraudulent. Well, I don't know if that's fair or not. I don't trust them though. I don't trust them, so I wouldn't put it past them. And he, in that video, he was going particularly hard against the people that had Apex funded trader affiliate links. And in particular, talking about Matt, trades by Matt, suggesting that Matt was never really successful before he got funded by Apex, and that's suspicious, and that he says that most of his gains happen off stream, and that's suspicious. So now Iman is basically calling trades by Matt a fraud, which is like, whoa, okay. Isn't that true? I don't watch his stream. I don't know. Everything that I've seen from him seemed like he was a guy that was just genuinely trying to trade and happened to be streaming it, kind of like how I started. And that he takes, you know, he's basically trading the price action strategy where you take on a lot more risk than you make per trade, which, as far as I've seen, if you do it enough times, you are destined to pass a combine at some point. And then you might make a little bit and then you'll blow it up again, right? So like his performance looks to me just like the performance that I can see, because again, I don't watch every video, but people will come in and tell me stuff, and I'll see people post stuff on Reddit, right? But what I've seen looks exactly like what I would expect from somebody trading that low R factor price action strategy. So to now be moving the goalpost is not moving the goalpost, but I'm trying to create some sort of an allegory here. But to shift now to he's a fraud is like a really jarring shift to me. It's a really jarring shift to me. I'm kind of starting to feel like that this guy, because I mean, Iman, he's gotten a big channel real fast, right? Kind of feel like that he's like, I'll take down everybody else that I possibly can because it helps me. That's what I think he's doing, but we'll see. I'm just waiting. He's gonna make a video about me and he's gonna be like, Seth, he's such a terrible trader, and he like never trades. And I'll be like, yep, as of late, yep, that's true. Rhythmic needs to step in. Jonathan needs to stop taking on these bucket shoves. They probably get a lot of business from it, though. How much rich a guy can be in trading? Oh my gosh. Andrew Lucas. By the way, is that are you new to the stream? I don't recognize that name. If so, welcome to the stream. The thing with trading is that it's got an incredibly huge left tail, right? Like if we look at the net performance over 5 years, okay, so this is going to be a graph of net performance over 5 years, right? Most people, so if this is even, let's do it in a bright, let's do it like full on instead of just highlight. Okay, this is going to be 0, right? Most people are going to lose money, right? There's going to be a few people that like really lose a ton of money, like Vinny, who lost over $1 million from one of his accounts. Okay, and then there's going to be very few people that actually make money from day trading over a 5-year period. Like I'm talking 1 to 5%. Okay, and then there's this huge tail that goes way out like this. Okay, so like, okay, there's these outliers out here where, you know, they're really dumb and they lost $1 million, but then there's these guys over here that get, you know, maybe they're lucky or maybe they really got an edge or who knows, but they're making like $10 million off of it. So it has a really far right tail. Okay, but we're talking about like in that 5-year period, there's maybe like one guy that achieves that. It was a retail trader. Busy Seth is back with the butt crack. Not a butt. How does that in any way look like a butt crack? Does your butt look like that with like one cheek that's long and flat like that? I think you might need to see a doctor, dude. It normally does. Oh, man. Okay, so they fiddled around a little bit, but they're coming back up to that high again. No, oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't miss the question, but I didn't read it, and I forgot about it, and I'm coming back, so thank you for reminding me. I'm curious about this implied volatility values on CN options, like the call options for 110 evens is 6.87%. That seems like an incredibly large percentage move possibility. Oh, okay. So I think that when you were asking about this yesterday, I misunderstood what you were talking about. So I think, you know what? I don't actually know. I think I'm just guessing here. Or maybe it was like, this is what I assumed that this was the case. No. I definitely read about this in books, and I just don't remember what the book said. I think that when you're doing options on stock and implied volatility is like 5%, that means that they are pricing that stock could move as much as 5% before the expiration. Is what I think that means. So, if you were trying to use the implied volatility amount for like the treasury, for instance, right? I think you could come in and you could say, okay, it says that the treasury could move 5%. Then you would have to count out how many days there are left until the expiration, right? And divide it by that to figure out, like what amount that would be on a daily basis. And what would be a 6.87% move? Yeah, I don't think that it's pricing it as like that you would take the current price 100,050 and times it by 6%. I don't think that that's correct. If we're talking options, I bet you that it is the percentage of the I don't know, I'm not sure. There used to be a guy trading off Excel that was good at this stuff. I forget his name though. Yeah, because it's not going to be like, 110,000 times 1.06, 116. And then I come back over to here and I look at a daily chart. Like 116 is like way off the charts here. Like there's no way that that's what it means. I get what you're saying. I don't think that that's the case. But it could be like a percentage of the margin requirement or something like that. Okay, well, so the first thing, pretty basic for stock options. So I think the first thing that we should keep in mind is that like implied volatility kind of originally comes from Black-Scholes, right? Because you got this model, and there's a couple of things in that model that you already know, and the implied volatility kind of ends up being like this extra little factor that they account for, and then you plug in all the things that you know, and the implied volatility that you get comes out. So I think that's where that percent comes from. So I feel like there's a step calculation to convert that percentage into values. I think that you're correct too. You know what? We should check what you should do is go to the CME education website and see if they have videos about or courses, I guess, about options and about treasury options in particular. Because I'm going to bet you that it's probably more complicated than we're expecting. Like that there's like the conversion factor and all of those sorts of things involved. Do you know what I mean? Okay, well, it looks like we are kissing 07 here, which was kind of an area that we were expecting them to eventually be able to rise to. I would say, despite reaching new session highs here, the cumulative delta is still a little bit iffy. Conversion factor is a huge pain in the butt. I'm trying to add pricing and yields to the DOM. Yeah. Like ZN tick change today is 0.4 on the day. That's only a 0.13% move. If I come over here to the interest rates page and go to tools. So for watch, cross currency basis watch, Fed watch, Treasury watch, COT, total cost analysis, open interest profile, analytics, start analytics. Well, let's just go into the Treasury analytics. Man, that came back 2 ticks real fast, didn't it? Pricing, volatility, and strategy tools. See how many standard deviations a strike is from the at-the-money futures price chart. Open interest and volume to see where trading is focused and to gauge market sentiment on price. Generate fair value prices in Greeks for any CME option, group option on futures product, or price a general option with our universal calculator. Select the product, interest rates, 10-year. Right back up there to the highs. Select an expiration. September, October. Let's do September. 26th July. August expirations. You're looking at tomorrow's expiries. Okay. So you're looking at 28th of June 2024. You're looking at weeklies. Aha. And it tells you that. It says, you can pick your strike, and it says the call percentage, or the volatility. What is this? If I click on this, does it give me like an about? If the underlying price was 100 and volatility was 20%, a one standard deviation move would be 20 points up or down, and this would create an expected price range of 80 to 20. Huh. Well, that doesn't help. That just that confirms one of our theories, then the theory that we rejected because that doesn't make any sense. Unless they're talking about the volatility of the option itself, which right now is priced at 0.8. Yeah, look at that. They kind of juked us and like shoved higher beyond the 07 real quick. Well, they just ticked down again at 07, but there was a relatively large order at 07. Why am I being tagged? Tagged? What do you mean? Take the money price of the put plus the call equals max expected move. Oh, didn't like that.
Block buy.
Block buy, huh? That's a little odd. Well, feel like the market's being a little stingy. Like we've gotten a decent amount of uptrend here, but I'm not really getting paid a whole lot for it yet. And now some big guys coming in and doing some stuff that might be the sort of thing that kind of creates a range here around 07. So let's move to 08 strikes. Bid on calls is 10 and puts is 12. So it's basically pricing that the market could move half a handle in the next day. That's lower than I would think that it should be. I think that it should probably be over a handle. Well, maybe between half a handle and a full handle, if not over, because of like there's a debate tonight and there's PCE tomorrow. I feel like it'll be the last trader on Earth to finally learn options. You know what a put and a call is, right? Hence options. Problem is that like there's infinite amount of things to know about options. Some reloading at 07. Well, the next spot, now that we've touched 07, that I would be interested in would be the top of that range from yesterday, which was 09. But there has been some volume in here, so the kind of the thing that I'm stuck at right now is that I have seen some things that would kind of cause this to like get stuck, but what I'm seeing in the DOM and in the volume kind of suggests that things are still pretty you know, like they haven't gotten to that point yet, like they're still doing something. Well, yeah, that's why I said to understand what the 6.42% means, I think that you need to understand the Black-Scholes formula more, because that's where that number comes from. That's how they calculate that number. And this whole thing that like you can use the implied volatility to calculate how far it's likely to go over the next time period, yada yada yada, that's like, that's kind of a consequence from that model that we get, but that's not what the model was intended to do. So how it applies with the weird pricing of treasuries, I'm not sure. Wow. Okay, so now, after reloading a ton, and they hit the 07 half pretty hard, but there's a 5K iceberg underneath of it, and they haven't traded through yet. S&P 500 is going to, by the way. But do I not have my news thing on? Hold on. Did it get taken off? It did. Oh, because I didn't save that workspace. Yes, I see. There we go. Well, that's not right, though, because it did not have a warning there for, at 6:30 for, like, the GDP and stuff. So almost certainly it would have that in there, right? Unless my script, like, pooped out or something. Yeah, no, looking for... Well, but, I mean, understanding what the expected move is, that is somewhat of an edge, though, isn't it? Okay, so it looks like they were able to hold a good bit at 07.5. This is 6K at 08. That's holding pretty strong so far. Yeah, it could be a percentage of 64th. No, because that would be, you know... That would only be 4 ticks. Right? Or, yeah, 4 ticks. Okay, so there was a relatively large order at 08, and they are just blowing through that. I'm kind of starting to wonder if they don't trade completely back across the entire range. So you know what this makes me think about now for some reason? So there was a story yesterday. We posted it in Discord. Basically, somebody in the Sophers made a huge options bet. And this options bet in the Sophers basically was that they would reduce interest rates 300 basis points in the next 6 months. Basically, a bet that could only come out correct if there was a recession, if there was a full-blown recession before the end of the year, which is kind of wild. And it's kind of wild just because, like, why would somebody make a bet that big and put that much money on something that I think you would have to have a relatively high conviction to want to do, when there's really not anything going on that suggests that that's what's going to happen. And so when we're talking about it, who knows who it is? Who knows? I have no clue. Probably a hedge fund of some sort. And probably a European, because it's in the, it's in the Sophers. But so Alligator, we were talking about it, like what possible scenarios might they be thinking? Like one of the scenarios is, that Europe could have a crisis. There's kind of been some talk in France and in some craziness going on in their bond markets and stuff. So that could be a factor, right? But Alligator, the first thing that Alligator said was, well, the chances that we fall into a recession is probably underpriced right now. Which is probably true. I don't think that you put a trade on like that. I don't think that you put a trade on like that because you think it's underpriced. But it is a good point that the chances of us falling into a recession, given the current economic data, is higher than the market is giving it credit for. Okay. Okay, I just got out because I did not like the amount of pushback from the market orders that I got there at 08. I think there's still a possibility it goes further, but I didn't like that. What I just saw there is kind of a counter signal for me. Not one that would like make me take short, but is enough to get me out of one. And I am being a little bit more cautious than normal, perhaps, because I haven't taken a live trade in a while. That was a live trade. I made my $10, and like a standard move is going to be about $10 for me. So like I'm to my profit target, and I'm starting to see like these high amounts of volume and kind of push back in both directions. Okay, but let's just sit and see, because if it's going to do something here, it might do it right away. So You know, like it could just bust through another tick or two higher. Well, the S&P 500, meanwhile, is looking pretty good so far. I'm bothered here that my news is not giving me the future events. How did I change it yesterday? I think I made a boo-boo. Let's also reset to that point where I got out so that it's a little easier for me to track where was at. I'm gonna make a change here and see if that changes. Yeah. Much better. I'm gonna have to toy around with that a little bit. Let's see here. So I think there was a couple of comments that I missed here. Lucas, but if everyone and their mother uses that formula, what edge can we derive from it now? Okay, so Black Scholes, I think, is interesting really more because of what it teaches us about the market and the factors that are involved in pricing options. If you are trying to price options and be a market maker in options, and you use Black-Scholes or some form of that, these days, you're going to get your butt handed to you. Because ultimately, Black-Scholes is a model and it is a flawed model. And we have better models now. And there are, in fact, better models that are much simpler. So, that's the first thing. And the second thing is that the only edge that we're trying to derive in it here is, what do options suggest the market could move? We've done some studies about this. Well, I mean, this has been a thing that's been studied relentlessly, but I have done my own study of this by looking at the S&P 500 and saying, okay, what is the implied volatility and what is the realized volatility? And there's a very tenuous relationship with them. There is a kind of a tendency that, like, when implied volatility is higher, that realized volatility is higher. Like there is a correlation there, but there are wide divergences too. There are days where the implied volatility is like nothing, and you have like huge outperformance, and then there's days where they expect it to move a ton and it doesn't move at all. So there's kind of a tenuous relationship between implied and realized volatility. But I would say that it is still useful information. So, and And I think even more so, if we're thinking about taking trades and options, which is what I think Uzi is doing, understanding what all of those things mean and how they apply, how you apply them to the pricing of treasuries instead of a stock is important. So, would it be an important thing that I would want to know before I would be trading them? Okay. What are your thoughts on the new 4 industry leaders join the DTCC board of directors? So I don't know a thing about that. I don't know a thing about that. I don't know if that's really that interesting or not. And Octavia says we are 1 time framing higher. Maybe. So what I'm, from my perspective, okay, we're getting pretty decent in balance here. I think that the way that things are going, particularly with where we were, does suggest, and there's another tick higher in there, by the way, does suggest that we've got a pretty strong imbalance of buys today. Good trade. Was it the best exit? Well, I guess we will see. They doesn't look like they are done. We are getting kind of a little bit of this now. So I'm concerned, even with these 2 ticks higher that we've had here, I'd be concerned about something like this, right? Also, we do have news at the top of the hour, right? What is it? The pending home sales index is coming up. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But I would note that it wasn't really until around maybe here that we really started to see the volume come in more aggressively long. So I think that some of this might have just been like the post news period and that they didn't start executing it until here. So they may have plenty more to go. I'm just concerned that we could be running into like the limits of their impact, and that we're going to have a flat period here for a while before they can continue going up again, is kind of what I'm looking at. But I think when Octavia says we're 1 time framing higher, it's kind of like you do that and then you go, oh, okay, so then we're going to go up to here or something like that. But I think the 1 time frame higher kind of phenomenon comes from, these different waves. And this was just a news wave, and this is like wave 1 of the meta order, or maybe it's a wave 2 or 3 of some meta order that is going on larger. But the bigger thing that I'm looking at, and kind of the things that, like, what got me into the trade. Okay, well, we'll come over here. I don't know why, but GDP and initial jobless claims were positive. There's yen job owning, which hasn't been affecting the yen, but it is something that makes me start looking for longs. Okay, we got pending home sales later today, so we don't know what that is. We got 4 and 7 week bill auctions, right? So those are both been, at least lately, the auctions have been good for the market. So those are buys too. So everything that we've looked at so far is buys. Now, Tokyo CPI, that one's potentially a sell. Like, maybe you sell hedging for that. Okay. And then there's the debate. We don't know about it yet. Okay. Then on top of that, something that probably we should list on here is we're at a key mean reversion / momentum levels. This is the other side. Is that when we come and we look at like the volume profile, okay, we had a pretty key range established here, we fell out of it yesterday, and now we're starting to get some volume the other way. So when this started, we were at like 04 or something like that was when I got in, right? So that was like, okay, it looks like a mean reversion is coming in and we can ride this a little bit. So that's why I took it. I got out because I started to see some pushback. Do we see that on the cumulative delta? Not so much right now. So that it was actually, it's kind of funny. That little orange candle right there, I think it is. Yeah. That is like what got me out. So I think that I was maybe too sensitive on the exit. But it is still like they are ticking back. There are 2 ticks back at least. 1 tick down would be like, that's exactly what I thought it was going to be. So it was an okay trade. It was an okay trade. Let's come in here since we took a live trade. Let's come in here and discuss. Okay. First, let's come in here. Suggests slow but consistent up pressure, which is what we've gotten. Results took along, was maybe 2 ticks late on the entry and a few ticks early on the exit, so could have gotten So that's the thing that I care the most about, is that the flows were in line with my expectations. They were. So I think it was a good trade. Why do you prefer trading ZN? So there's a couple of reasons. I think that for me, how I came to this place, I think was largely out of necessity. I had tried some other things like oil. They were too volatile for me. I didn't want to take on a whole lot of risk. And I wanted to use order flow, and CN seemed to be the best place to do that. There was even a period there during COVID when the micro ES futures came along, and I was like, well, that's an opportunity to, that's even less risk. Let's do that. But I had a really hard time of it. So I think that that's part of it. A major part of it is just a necessity. Oh boy, there's a couple more ticks up there. You know what? I should have stayed in. How much was it? I don't have a profit tick thing. That means that I don't. Oh, but I can see where it got out at. 05. Oh, no, not that one. Micros. 287. Oh, man, I could have made another $10 off of that. Boy, that's so crazy that it's so slow when I'm in it, and then I get out and it accelerates. Wow. That last move, by the way, look at that on the chart. Oh, well, I screwed up. I think I was way too sensitive on the exit. Okay, anyways. But the more that I've gotten into it, and maybe a lot of the style and the things that we've learned about the markets are also very much a function of the treasuries themselves, right? Treasuries are very economically sensitive. So we get movement whenever there's an economic report, okay? The treasuries and the equity indexes, they're both very news sensitive, right? But I would say that the treasuries are even more news sensitive. And so that makes them a good instrument for the day trading. That makes them a very good instrument for the day trading. Another really big advantage is that the treasury is an extremely liquid instrument. So there's two things that end up being an advantage in having such a liquid instrument. One is that when things get crazy, we can still trade, because there are some markets, like when it was COVID, man, and it was like going down and hitting the freaking circuit breakers every 5 minutes and all of that sort of stuff. You basically couldn't trade the equities. It was too volatile for a retail trader to trade it, and you just wouldn't be fast enough, and the risk that you were taking on was like insane. But you could still trade the treasuries. You could still find places in the treasuries, and there was still liquidity to execute against. So especially when we're getting market volatility and a downside economic action, you'll be glad that you have the treasury in your back pocket, even if you graduate and go on to trading something else. Okay. And the other side of it is that because there's more liquidity, there are more predictive signals. So basically, you know, people that they're coming in and they're executing something every month, maybe rebalancing their portfolio or something like that. Though those guys, they're going to love a really liquid instrument. They're going to love a really liquid instrument. And so you have all of this information, all of this flow to find, you know, predictors of order flow in. It ends up being more fertile ground for us to find the predictors of order flow. And so with the way that we are trading, that is really advantageous, right? If we were trying to day trade based on chart patterns, okay, treasury probably the worst thing you could trade. I think treasury probably the worst thing you could trade, because they do not follow any of the rules that people tend to believe with their technical analysis. I think that this is part of why I've become so jaded against the technical analysis. Because the technical analysis guys will say, you know, the signals, they're the same up versus down. They're the same on all instruments. That's total nonsense. The market behaves extremely differently when it's moving down versus when it's moving up. And that's even the case for the treasury. And the treasury market moves very differently from almost everything else. Treasuries love to trend. Treasuries love to trend. It's either going to go in a range and like do nothing, or it's just going to keep going and going and going. No, I probably, in a situation like this, probably it's not a bad idea to just keep it. I mean, you think it's trending and then it's in the mean reversion, it will come all the way back on you. But it's either it's going to come all the way back on you, or it's just going to keep going and going and going and going. It's not like the equities that kind of do all these other kind of weird things. And especially these things that like, you know, people talk about fair value gaps and liquidity grabs and all that sort of shit. Okay, yeah, we moved down and now we're getting a higher low. So that means that I should buy it here. That sort of stuff in the treasuries is like, nah. Like when it's doing that in the treasuries, that means that like there's counterflows and there's not actually that strong of a flow, and you maybe don't want to take a trade. You know? So dunk on your boy. So yeah. If you try and do technical analysis on treasuries, you get frustrated very quickly because they're an extremely efficient instrument in that respect. But that's the whole thing, is that I think that the treasuries are very well suited for day trading. They really are. And in the treasuries, you can still like pick out one tickers in places too. So that's kind of an advantage for a retail trader too. And you know what? There's one other thing I would say about this. That's intentional. It's intentional. The treasuries are like that more fertile ground on purpose, because the government wants you to have a lot of liquidity, right? They want that market to be the best place to trade. And so they do all sorts of things, and the CME is, helps them in any way that they can to make sure that that instrument is a good place to trade so that there be a lot of liquidity. As an example, the commissions, the relative commissions on the treasuries are less than the other markets. It just is. Especially your commission to tick ratio is like insane compared to any other instrument, right? Like that's intentional. That's the government. It's that way because the government wants it to be that way. So it's kind of interesting, don't you think, that they're basically like, we want everybody to trade this one market, and all of the retail traders go somewhere else. Kind of weird. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? Gold bunkers on the print. Oh yeah, I forgot that we just got the news here. So the home sales was -2.1 versus an expected +5. It looks like gold is really jumping on that. The treasuries, I don't know if they're really reacting to that news. I'm kind of wondering if they weren't like running up before that news, and now that the news is over, it's kind of like, buy the rumor, sell the news sort of a thing going on. There has been a couple of orange bars in here, but I'm not seeing like a real turn down in cumulative delta yet, though. Yeah. Aren't these calculated based on volatility as well? Like NQ has a $5 tick, but it moves a lot. While in treasuries, you can stay 40 minutes seeing the bid between 2 ticks. Oh, I don't know. You're saying that the reason that the commission is lower in the treasury is because it's a less volatile instrument? I don't know. I haven't considered that before. I was under the understanding that they're discounted though on the CME. They're intentionally discounted. Like that everything else being equal, the treasuries would be $1 more commissions than they are. I have to look at that again now. Okay, well, they do seem to be having a hard time kind of keeping it up there near those highs. So I do kind of suspect that we could see a return back towards the 07. By the way, we're like way above like the stop out zone and everything too. See this? This is a great example. When we're talking about these inventory cost basis lines, and we've seen a lot of situations where the lines seem almost prescient, and when you get above this upper line, it's kind of hard to stay there, right? But that's not been the case today, right? Today they've just kind of ridden it the whole way. That's what tends to happen on a trend day. So if your strategy is wait for it to go above that stop out line and then take a short, that'll probably work like 60% of the time. But the 40% of the time that it doesn't, you just get destroyed. And, like, is it going to pull back? What about the pullback trade, right? Like, oh, you wait for a pullback, you want to come to this cost basis line right here. Like, is it really going to come all the way back to 04? I highly doubt it. I think that the most likely thing to happen here is a slight pullback to 08 and then sideways. You ever look at Euro Bund futures? No, because I do not get Eurex data. And I would have to pay significantly more to get it. And I'm already paying enough in fees and all these other kinds of things. Yeah. But Uzi says pullback will basically be the end of the day's action. Pullback then probably. I think so. The reason why I think that is, okay, so I see a bunch of things that suggest, or we saw rather a bunch of things that suggest that there would be an imbalance in favor of the longs. I didn't really say a whole lot at the beginning, but I took a trade. So come over here and look at this chart. Okay, like look at cumulative delta. So like from here to here, what does it change? That's -10 and that's 15. So 25,000 contracts long. Okay, it's net 25,000 contracts long. I got out when it was about 20,000 contracts long, by the way. Right, I kind of have this idea of like, how many contracts do I expect to come in after me? And then I will start to see them dig a hole. That's why I started to see some of the things that dig a hole. And that's why I got out when I did. I shouldn't have done it. I could have made 10 more bucks, right? Because I got out at 287 and it's 277 right now. Okay, so I was a little bit early. Maybe me being early had to do with like not waiting for the pending home sales, for instance. That might have been part of why they were driving it. Okay, but if it's like a really, really major piece of news, like something that really changes the perception of the economy in people's minds, right? That's going to be like a 30, 40, 50, 60K day. Okay. 10K is like your average move, right? What should today be based on the flows that we have? Should today be a trend day that just keeps going and going and going? No, it's not. It's a 10 to 20K day. We've already gotten more flow than I would expect to see on a day like this. And I'm really skeptical that they're going to be able to push a whole lot more. The only caveat there is that the momentum mean reversion players that are getting involved here, you know, could be wanting to pick it up all the way up until the previous highs. So that's the one caveat there. Okay. But so because I'm not expecting this to be like a crazy huge trend day, then what you are likely to get is, if you're looking at it, thinking of it from like the volume profile terminology, a double distribution day. We should expect a double distribution day. Your delta went above 40K? Well, maybe if you count like the overnight action. But since the news, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I'm not counting this before that. I don't usually count the overnight action in that estimate of things. But yeah, so I would expect it to be a double distribution day, which means they'll keep going up until they dig a hole here. There might be multiple legs to it, but then it will just die off and it will be the most frustrating thing in the world. And it's starting to show some signs of doing it. We actually have, so this is really what I would, okay, see right here, okay, really consistent uptrend. Look at how many orange bars in cumulative delta we got there now. Right. So it's reached a target in cumulative delta. I'm seeing a pullback in cumulative delta, even though I'm not seeing a pullback in price. I'm seeing a pullback in cumulative delta. And we're staying in a range here for a really long time. that's exactly where I would be like, okay. If I had not gotten out at 08, which was right here, I would definitely be getting out at 10. That doesn't mean that it can't go higher, but that's just how I trade it. Because the way that I trade it is, it's going to stay in here for 45 minutes, and I don't know if there's going to be another leg. I don't think that there will be. So it's done. Octavius thinks that we will go to 14? Wow, why 14? Why would he be thinking 14? So this is where I kind of do the machine learning thing, and I look and I'm like, okay, well, there was highs from before all of this at 14. So that must be why he's looking at that. I don't know if they have enough oomph to get there. Well, I take that back. There could totally be another leg, and if there was another leg, it would probably be a pretty, should be enough to get to 14, yeah. Should be enough to get to 14, I think so. But I'm not gonna take that back. I'm not gonna take that back. I kind of think, wait, why does your chart say S&P? Where did you see that? You talking about this chart over here? Because that is the S&P 500 futures. You didn't never notice the watermark? The watermark is one of my greatest programming achievements. Not one of my greatest programming achievements. But you know what? Other people wrote a NinjaTrader watermark indicators, and mine is better. And I made it free. You can download it from my website, speculatorseth.com. Go to the downloads page, and in the free indicators, you can get the watermark indicator. The ZN watermark, hold on. Oh, so we were on this volume pro. Oh, you're right. Oh, that's so funny. I have the watermark on there. Wait, so let's just change it. Custom text 10-year. Yeah. That's funny that I have that on there, and then I don't even have the watermark on this one. Should I add it on all of them? Why not? Custom text. I'll just make S&P 100. Custom crude light oil. Da-da-da-da. You see how it's always behind? That's what my watermark does that nobody else was able to do. Correct. Make it say Zinny Boys. Wait, what? This one? No, you know what I'm gonna do? Hold on. Here's what I'm gonna change this to. Watermark. And get rid of that S&P 500. And I'm gonna put crack. There we go. There we go. I shouldn't call it crack because there's a crack spread, right? But crack spread is like heating oil versus crude oil. gold. I need to. I actually. I need to make a modification to that because I would like to be able to put it down on these subgraphs too. So I should make a change that will tell it to print on the subgraph instead. I'll leave that one alone. But. Okay, well, when did this start? The top of the hour. Oh boy. I think we got a while here. It really looks like it's settling at 10, so. Man. I know this is going to be like a really jarring, like, Seth, stop being so ADHD, but I'm browsing here on Reddit. And, like, there's still all the stuff going on with, like, Star Wars and the Acolyte and everything. And, there's a pretty, like, we know for a fact that Disney tries to manipulate social media. They'll pay certain influencers to say things, and they play all this game. And, like, it seems to me like it's really obvious when they're doing it. Like, because I can just see the titles and so forth that come out about it. And I just saw one that was like, yeah, that does not look like, oh, I'm just the normal fan. And no, it's like you wrote the dumbest title just as the Acolyte episode 5 was amazing! Exclamation point, exclamation point. That is like, Reddit would almost never upvotes a title like that. That's like too stupid of a title for them to actually, they'd be like, oh no, there's gotta be a more serious thread, like the Acolyte episode 5, that they're gonna go and upvote and turn up. So when the one with the stupid title goes up to the front, I'm like, that looks like, that smells like manipulation to me. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll never know. You know what I'm just realizing now? There's a debate today. Oh, there's a debate today. It's gonna be an interesting debate, boys. I think it's gonna be an interesting debate. Ooh, a little bit of weakness there at 09.5 for a second. I think that they might tick down there. Oh yeah, they're all pulling. Oh, you know what? So I'm seeing that and I'm like, well, maybe that's the Japanese yen. And I look at the Japanese yen and that's like, oh yeah. They like have barely gone anywhere today and are still kind of on the downside. So if the yen starts pushing lower again, eek. That's an eek. I think even though I took a good trade and we've done good today, that I think yesterday I was getting burnt out. Like I was so mentally exhausted and it was just Python dependency hell. Like that's not the worst thing in the world, you know? But I was just 7. And my workout too. I was like, had a hard time getting into it at the start. Went through, was doing okay. My elbow's doing a little bit better. And then I got to the second half of the workout and all the energy was gone and I couldn't even lift it anymore. So I definitely hit a wall yesterday of some sort. So all of those sorts of things are reminding me, yeah, I took a good trade. But that wasn't because I'm on fire today, like I'm super sharp. No, I think I should probably try to take it a little bit easier today. I think this morning I've got some errands. I'm gonna do the errands this morning, and then maybe in the afternoon I'll get back into the Python thing and try that again. And save my energy for watching the debate, because that's gonna be pretty intense, right? It's gonna be pretty intense. For me, I think it's probably gonna be pretty boring actually. But I enjoy that sort of stuff, so I'm just gonna be locked in, like, don't say anything stupid. Don't say anything. Okay, of course you're gonna say something, but that wasn't too stupid. I think we're okay. That's gonna be me tonight. So there's some debate. Then there's PC on Friday. And then on Saturday, there is an air show. There's an air show on Saturday in Utah. So that will be fun. None of my older kids wanted to come. Oh my gosh, I'm devastated, guys. I'm devastated because Birth Dad, they're doing a gay pride festival sort of thing at their work or whatever, where, you know, I guess you do crafts or I don't know. It sounded boring to me. I'm sitting here like, do dumb crafts or watch an F-35 fly 50 feet over your head. Easy call in my opinion, but none of them wanted to do it. So but I will be going. The babies will be going. It'll be fun. I got a new sun shirt, all this stuff. I'm ready for to like really, because, you know, it's like an all day thing and it's super hot and sunny out there. So I'm going to be full on sun protection, hunkering down for the day. It's going to be fun. Well, there's 09. Again. It looks like that one's gonna fall too. So maybe they do come all the way back to 08. You know, this happens to me a lot though, is it seems like I'll see like that little bit of pushback. And I've had some things come back on me so much that when I see those market orders like really start to push back down, I often look it out. But I think what tends to happen is those guys start to push back at the tail end, and there is like a few more ticks in it left, and I always miss out on those last little ticks. What's this? Oh, let's see here. OpenAI, we're sharing an update on the advanced voice mode we demoed during our spring update, which we remain very excited about. Me too. We had planned to start rolling this out in alpha to a small group of ChatGPT Plus users in late June. What? They weren't even planning on giving it to late June, but they said later this month. What was the 8:30 data? I don't see anything. There was probably, natural gas. You might have heard them say something for natural gas. But I don't have anything for 8:30. I do have here on my chart, though, the Kansas City Fed Manufacturing Survey at 9 o'clock. So there's that. I don't know if I go further ahead in the future if it shows me. No, I should get it to show me like the next 2 days. What do you think? Wait, if I say and days 3, because I think in here. Wait, how many days do I tell this to be? No, that's load 5 days. I don't know. Oh, I broke something. Oh, I just crashed Ninja Trader in the worst way, man. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm EST. Oh, yeah. It was jobless claims and GDP. And along with that, like durable goods and all those sorts of things. All that cool stuff. Hopefully I didn't do something that just like completely destroys the... Did I not save this chart after adding the news thing? I did not. Good grief. Okay. News warning. Okay. Cool. Now if I do this, I can only see to the end of the day, so I guess that change didn't do anything. Actually, I think on this, what? Cannot complete the action. Oh, you know what? We did all of those changes to the charts, and because of the crash, they're not there anymore. I'm gonna add, I won't do it on all of them, but I will add it on the coolest ones. No. Watermark. Custom text. Cool. Save workspace. Try this again. Okay. I think that should be better. Growing pains. That was Brad telling me about trying to convert his thing over to the newest version of Bevy and so forth, so that we can have our little cool timer at the bottom of the screen. And it sounds like a pain. Do you use ChatGPT then? You know what? Not really. I don't use it that often. You know what's something that really irks me? Let me give you guys some advice about ChatGPT. ChatGPT is full of shit. Like, sometimes it's really useful stuff and you can read and you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. And then you go and you dig a little bit further and you're like, oh, okay. But a lot of people, they just think, oh, it will do all the work for me. And they ask it the question and then they just take whatever it says at face value. But the truth is that ChatGPT makes stuff up. So here's what they do, is they'll ask ChatGPT a question. ChatGPT will come up with a reasonable answer, and then they'll send it to the other person that was maybe asking them a question that they didn't know the answer to. Instead of saying, I don't know the answer, they go to ChatGPT, get the answer from ChatGPT, and then they try and present the answer from ChatGPT as their own. So the piece of advice that I would give you is, if you use ChatGPT to generate something for somebody else, you should disclose to them that you utilized ChatGPT. Why? Because the piece of information that you just gave them might be complete BS. And if they start, they try and run with that piece of information that you just gave them, and it turns out to be complete bunk, then they're going to be like, oh, well, why did what you just tell me is completely false? And then you go, oh, yeah, that was, I got that from ChatGPT. Right? Whereas if they had known in the first place that you had used ChatGPT, they would have gone, I shouldn't completely trust this. And they might have given up and realized that it was bunk a lot earlier than that. So again, piece of advice I would give you for ChatGPT: somebody asks you a question and you use ChatGPT to help answer it, and you give them something that is AI generated, you should tell them that it was AI generated. Otherwise, if it ends up being wrong or it stole artwork from somebody else or something like that, ChatGPT looks like the stupid one and not you. Let's see here. One of the most useful applications I've used ChatGPT for has been creating an interactive PDF tool where it reads a PDF, to have a context of what I'm reading, and then I can ask, yeah. You know, it's kind of funny. I think it's kind of more the nature of the space that I'm in, because basically what I do is I monitor systems for problems, and then if there's is a problem, you know, I'm looking at those metrics to try and help understand what the issue actually is and help to resolve the issue, right? And there's a lot of data. I mean, we get a lot of data and metrics from all sorts of different systems. And that is something that I think AI could be really good at. The AI can look at all of the data and tell me that this is where something is off. And if it has all of this context around past incidents and things like that, it might be able to really quickly tell me what's wrong and what we did or what to do, right? And all I've got to do is plug in all of the different metrics that are available and plug in all of the documentation that we have on past incidents. A large language model should be pretty good at that, right? Problem is that OpenAI's tools aren't nearly as good as everybody thinks that they are. These are really, really early basic tools. They way oversell them, what they can do. They don't give you, you know, just like this, they said, oh, you know, we're going to be rolling this feature out to people within the month. But then it turns out they're saying, oh, we weren't planning on doing it for 2 months after we said that. And now it's going to be 3 months. So like that feature that you demoed to us was not ready. Probably means that like they did a thing and like somebody did a demo and maybe they faked a little bit of it. And now they're like, okay, now we got to put this out now. And they're just writing, you know, the tech bros are writing their butts to get it out as quickly as possible, right? Because somebody that didn't understand the technology or what's left to do made a promise. Ugh. So like I can upload a PDF, but like if I want to like upload my Confluence documentation to ChatGPT every day, it can't do that, right? It's not good with up-to-date information. Updating information in place is kind of a bit of an issue, and yeah. Yeah, ChatGPT is retail use AI. What big corporations institutes have behind the scenes that we don't know about makes GPT look like a yeah. It really is. It really is true. Like artificial intelligence for special use applications. Like for instance, you know, like a market making application is just like absolutely insane what they can do. That's absolutely insane what they can do. Bill Gates has got no, he's not. Bill Gates is another guy that became too famous and started moving outside of his area of expertise and made all sorts of stupid, dumb decisions because of that. Just like every other rich guy tends to do. Except for that the problem with Bill Gates is that he's so rich and has so much money and has put so much political pressure behind it that like we end up suffering the consequences of some of his poor decisions. Oh, well. Oh, that was from ChatGPT when you said, you see, there you go. See, that's exactly what we're talking about, Namras. That's very, very, very good, right? Because before you said that, if you hadn't have told me that, I would have just been like, man, Namras, he's kind of an idiot. But because he told me it was from ChatGPT, now I understand. He wants to play God. You know, it's funny the way that this all works, because like I think that if you have money, you should try and do good in the world, right? The issue is that always seems to go beyond just doing good in the world. Like so if I was a multi-billionaire, I would probably make some grants to do more research and deal more with the issues that have plagued me and or people that I know that I don't feel like gets enough attention. Like I would like to see more research on what causes inflammatory bowel disease. I would like to see some more research on certain things about autism. or autistic treatments and early intervention with autism. Okay. But like, that's not just what Bill Gates does, right? Bill Gates also is like, oh, this thing would be good for the world. So now we're going to create all of these political apparatuses to try and push this propaganda on people and coerce everybody into doing the thing that I want. And I think that that's wrong. It's kind of funny. I was thinking the other day, I've been thinking about this a lot this week, I guess, but because somebody was saying like, oh, you always think you're right. You're too egotistical about it or something like that. I forget what the words that they were using about it. But like, or sometimes I'll say something and my wife will be like, that seems narcissistic. I was like, well, I'll joke about it all the time. I told them earlier, because she was ribbing me about spending the time while I'm on the vacation here doing this programming and stuff. And I'm like, listen, when they make a Netflix documentary about me, how are you going to be portrayed in that Netflix documentary? Are you going to be one of those people that like you were, you know, deriding it every step of the way and you didn't believe it and the people that I proved wrong? Or are you going to be one of those people that were with me every step of the way, were a complete believer, and because you were a complete believer, that enabled me to believe and be able to accomplish the great things? But, you know, to say, oh, they're going to make a Netflix documentary about me, that's egotistical, right? And I'm ADHD, and so I don't have the same sort of like egotistical. It's a little bit different for me because I kind of don't trust myself on a lot of things too, right? So like to come out and be like, I think that I know the way that things are supposed to be and I'm going to coerce everybody else to do that thing, is to me is like, oh, are you kidding me? Because I'm wrong about things all the time, and if I'm wrong about it, what kind of an impact am I having on the world? I'm trying to do good, but then I could have like an exceptionally negative impact on things, right? But I also think, you know what else I think, is that I think it's a hierarchy thing. Like, I think one of the things that might turn people off to me is I will tend to speak with high precision, and I will use a lot of terms that are like professional terms, because like I did work for a bank. I do read a lot of research. And when I use those words, it's not that I'm trying to make it so that poor people can't understand me. It's I'm using the words that you are going to have the most success with if you go out and search for this stuff. That's why I talk the way that I do. And some people read it as you're trying to sound rich, and you're not. You're not in that hierarchy. You didn't go to an Ivy League college, so you're not allowed to speak like that. And so they don't like it because they think that you're trying to pretend that you're at a certain place in the hierarchy when you're really not. When really the reality is I don't give a fuck about that shit. I couldn't care less. Everything that, I mean, like, I understand things about, like, there is a hierarchy, blah, blah, blah. But what I see in the world is that hierarchy really doesn't matter anymore. And the people that kind of cling to those sorts of ideas is to their own detriment. They don't care about it, you know? But I think that some rich people, some of the things that they do are to cement themselves. It's this spot in the hierarchy in some way, and they don't realize the harm that they're doing with this kind of virtue signaling kind of nonsense stuff. So the virtue signaling is kind of like a, look, I'm high up in the social hierarchy because I have the time to think about these sorts of issues that you don't. Dude wants to black out the sun to solve climate. Oh, well, was that Bill Gates? I remember I did read a story where people were unironically suggesting that we put chemicals in the air to block the sun out. Yes, I remember that. And everybody's like, have you not watched that? What is that movie? Icebreaker? No, that's not what it is. It's about a train. Not seen that movie? Or there's another one. So it's something I saw yesterday on Reddit was these people, they are making AI or they're making robot skin out of real living cells. Like they're real human living cells, I guess, but it's just like skin cells. So that the robot can have a more realistic, except for that right now it doesn't look realistic, but they were just kind of showing that you could make this sort of face sort of thing and you could have motors that do stuff. And so maybe now you try and make it more realistic. Like, have you not watched The Terminator? This is exactly how that happens. What is wrong with you people? I just... Robot spiders. Well, it really kind of... you know what I think it is? I think that, you know, these movies like The Terminator, those are actually Gen X movies. Those are actually Gen X movies. Because my uncle, he's very much Gen X, I think. And he thinks that the greatest movie ever was Aliens. Right? He did not go to theaters to see the new, just because he doesn't want to go to any theaters. So I'm like, oh, well, super, super good. And he's like, well, I don't know. From what I saw, it wasn't as good as the 1984 Dune. And I'm like, don't say anything. Just don't say anything. Just don't look at it. Don't say anything. Right? Okay. It's a Gen X thing. But the boomers, I don't think the boomers actually watched them. I think, like, maybe they went to the movie because everybody was seeing it, but I don't think they actually paid attention. Because now they're doing all of this stuff and nobody's like, hey, isn't that aren't we kind of creating cyborgs? And like, that's exactly how, you know, the Terminator happened. And I just like tries to enslave the human race. Like, I just... Do we really want robots that look like people? Do we really? I don't think I do. I do want a robot. Actually, maybe I do want robots that look like people. Maybe, you know what? Never mind. No, not like, I don't think I want them to look like people. I want them to look like the AI generated art that we just, right? I think that my robots should look like robots, but they should still be attractive. Let's put it that way. I think that it should be obvious that they're robots, but that they should still be attractive. Like, I'm gonna bet you that like most of the robots, once we get to that point, that most of the robots are gonna be hot chicks. Probably. Bullish robot girlfriends. Yes, exactly. I mean, there are some things out there that are like, in China, they're making all of these, they have factories full of these robots that look like girls. They're trying to make like girlfriend robots. Except for that, it's kind of creepy. Like, it's just, it's too close to human, but not quite human, that it just doesn't look quite right. And I think that if they're robots, even if they really perfected the technology and it really looked like people, it still would be like, people wouldn't like that. So they should be humanoid. They should be hot, but they shouldn't look, they should still be obvious that they're a robot. And then I'm totally buying one so that I can have my hot robot, you know, housekeeper, or whatever the thing is. Totally. And you might think that sounds kind of creepy, Seth, but you know what? Your wife is gonna want the hot girlfriend one too. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. They can make up some sort of cool cyborg maid costume. It's gonna happen. Don't hate the messenger. I'm from the future. I know what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. You're all going to get robot maids. They're all going to be hot women. Probably. Probably. Just put on Another Day in Paradise by Phil Collins. Now, robot spider. I've not seen a robot spider, but that thing that they make at Boston Dynamics, the dog thing. So the last video. Have you seen the last video that they put out by Boston? Let's see if I can find them. Let me find the right video. Yes, it's this one. It was the first result that came up. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. You seen this here? I'm gonna make it full screen for you guys, okay? Look at this thing. Okay, so it's kind of a humanoid looking thing, but then it like, wait, what the F? What the F? Like, who is in charge of this YouTube channel? Hey, we got a new robot to show. I know. Let's make them do the most creepy, wild, non-humanoid thing that we possibly can. Like, really, guys? Similar to People Crisis in Japan, with a huge growing of single individuals who, guess what, are using toys and AI and humanoid toys to replace humans, but which people often ignore or think is just conjecture, but is apparently a full, real issue in Japan. Actually, it is. You know that, like, when they have a problem with like too many rabbits in a place, that what they do is they go and they create these fake rabbits that have like exaggerated rabbit traits, and the other rabbits find these fake rabbits so sexy that they just want to procreate with the fake rabbit, and then they don't have any children, and that's how they control the rabbit population. It's happening with humans. And I dare say this. Now it's a conspiracy theory. I'll tell you, I don't have any proof to prove that this is happening, but I think that there are some people out there that are intentionally causing this to happen. That they want people to not have kids, because they're part of this freaking, liberal death cult that thinks that we need less people on the planet to be more sustainable. So what are they going to do? They're going to do all of these things to make it so that less people want to get married. Yeah. That's exactly what's happening. It's weird how half the world is we need to stop having humans, etc., and then the other Elon half, we need more kids. Well, so Elon has a good point. I don't know how good of a point it is, but population collapse is a real thing. And it doesn't take very long for you to get into population collapse. And the issue that you have with it is that it's self-perpetuating. Like once you have a major generation where there's significantly less children than there were in the previous generation, now you don't have the people to keep up all of the infrastructure and stuff that you had before, right? So like all of these great technological advancements and stuff, you might not be able to do them just simply because you don't have people. Now, perhaps the technology improves to the point where you don't need as many people. So that's where I'm like, I'm not 100% sure if Elon's completely right on this, because we don't know everything that's going to happen, right? But he is right in that, given current trends, that population collapse is a more serious issue and a bigger risk to civilization than overpopulation is. So but I'm kind of maybe this is just wishful thinking, but kind of seems to me that the political tides on that are changing. You're seeing it, especially in Europe. People are starting to be like, no, let's not solve our population issues by just importing more people, because we don't like what that's doing to our country. And people are starting to talk about the issues. Do you see these? Oh my gosh, I just can't imagine being on like liberal TikTok. Some of the, I'm not a liberal person. I don't watch them. I usually scroll past them, but every once in a while I'll see one that's just kind of like, wow, this person is really crazy. Let's see what they have to say. It must know that I dislike that content. Maybe it's showing that stuff to me because I dislike it. But man, there are some super crazy people out there, and I think the ones that like disturb me the most are like the anti-natalism people. Like, I saw this one thread that was like, I encourage all of my daughters to never get married and never have kids, and I'm like, you are fucking insane. A view is a view, maybe. There are many ways to skin a cat, but what are you really actually trying to do? Is the success the only thing that you care about? It's like, this is Disney. Some people are saying, oh, Disney, they are intentionally making the shows bad because they get so much rage bait from it. And they're getting a lot of views and still making money, even though the shows are awful. And it's like, well, yeah, except for that their reputation is in the dumpster now. And that has super negative long-term consequences, right? Everybody is always looking at the short-term thing and they don't see the long-term thing. This is the thing that drives me nuts the most. This is, if I was a super billionaire, I wouldn't be like trying to coerce people and all, doing some of the things that people do. But what I would do is I would try and get out there as much as possible to talk about these things that I care about. And the thing that I care the most about is this lie. There is a lie out there, and they know that it's a lie, that people in power are telling you about markets that they use to get away with all sorts of just crazy stuff. Crazy manipulation, things that are bad for you and me that they can get away with. And that lie is that markets are perfectly efficient. Nobody in the finance industry believes it, guys. All of the professionals, they all know that the market is not efficient. They know because they use all of these models and these behaviors to do their job on a daily basis. So they know that the market is not efficient. But the politicians, they push it because it's all political, guys. It's all political. And why do they push it? Because if the market is perfectly efficient, then whatever the market does is the right thing to do. Right? So like, it doesn't matter if we threw our company's reputation in the toilet and everybody hates the quality of our product and everybody hates us. As long as the stock price went up, that must mean that we're doing the right thing. And then in the long term, right, those people, they leech all of the value out of the company. They sell the shares and while they're buying on debt and things like that. They're taking millions, if not billions of dollars out, and they leave everybody else high and dry. And then later, it's like, well, sometimes companies just go down, right? But the reality is no, it was because of the stupid decisions that you made. We all told you that they were stupid decisions at the time, but you said, no, but stock price go up. That means good. Markets are not efficient. And in order for American society to progress as a society, we need to realize this and just start doing the things that we know are best because we know that they're best, and hope that in the long run that the market agrees with us instead of just doing whatever it is that we think the market wants us to do at that time, because the market is not efficient. to act like it's indestructible when the pillars are already rotting. Well, I don't know about that. So let me tell you something else that I care about. People understanding is systems. I saw this TikTok the other day, and they're like, the whole system is unsustainable. This is all going to come crashing down on us. Let me tell you something. People have been saying that from the beginning of time. I mean, like literally 2,000 years ago. Okay, like this was Noah's Ark thing. Okay, their civilizations would collapse and calamities happen to them. But there was always somebody saying, this system is unsustainable. Something's going to happen. And those systems will almost always last longer than people expect. Like people will have said that Rome was on the decline like hundreds of years before it was actually really like truly in the decline. Why is that? Because these complicated systems that we make are incredibly robust, even if they're incredibly flawed. And they're kind of self-perpetuating. So you can have a system that, you know, is just completely awful and bad for people and all of this sort of thing. And it can last for a really, really long time. And the problem that we have in the United States in particular is that it's become very difficult to change things, right? Like the thing that made the United States robust and everything was we had a constitution that protected fundamental things, but then we also had a process to be able to change things and evolve. And that like worked pretty good, except for in a couple of instances, like around the Civil War. And we've kind of come into one of those instances where it's kind of turned into like, it's so tight that you can't change anything. Right. And so you say, well, that's unsustainable, but actually it's not. The system can go on like that for hundreds of years, probably. So all of these crazy leftists out there that are like, the system's unsustainable and it's going to collapse on its own, and then we're going to institute communism in the United States. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. If there's something in a system and you think it's unsustainable, don't wait for it to collapse. Understand the system and make small changes, small incremental changes along the way to move the system towards a better place. I think I got way too serious, but you know what, guys? It's 9:03, so what should we put in today's title? Seth takes a trade for once. Yeah, that's what we'll put. That's the title. Seth takes a trade for once. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey, we'll still be in Discord talking about the debate and everything. So see you guys tomorrow morning. In the meantime, stay excellent.